Let's get streaming first. Let's get
Sorry.
started.
My thing didn't work. Let me get this. I
No
couldn't
problem.
see my mouse. Okay, and then let me get this one. Okay, and then last one.
Are you ready?
All right. we're ready.
Okay. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, looks like we're a couple short tonight, but we do have a quorum, so welcome everyone here. We got a full house, it looks like. So we'll start off with, we need to approve the meeting minutes for May 13th. And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of May 13th.
I'll second.
Okay, we're gonna be, the three of us here. Okay, any questions, comments, or any changes that you noticed? None hearing. All in favor of approving the minutes of May 13th, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None hearing. Motion carried. Need to adopt tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, any changes from staff or anything, additions, subtractions?
Just that we had a late resignation, and she was added to the agenda. That's Mariah Hoagland.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's on here, so we're
Yeah.
good to go then. So, do I hear, we need a vote on it. So we got, to adopt tonight's agenda, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We have an agenda for tonight's meeting. Any public comments out there on the,
I'm gonna go look. I don't
Yeah, I
think
wanna-
so, but I'll double
take a
check.
look at it?
Okay. No public comments.
No public comments, okay, well, let's do that. We have the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make a motion we accept tonight's consent agenda.
And I'll second it.
Okay, questions, discussions?
I didn't really see.
I didn't either. I'll look.
Some hirings and resignations and retirements.
Yeah, I just would like to publicly thank Karen Hirsch. I think she's been a paraeducator in our school district for 36 years, working with our children. And she states how much fun she's had working with some of her best teachers. She said she's worked for 10 different principals, but has really enjoyed such a rewarding job. So congratulations to Karen for her retirement.
Good.
We wish her well. 36 years is a long time.
That's a long
It is.
time.
It's impressive. And she
That's-
always has a
that's
smile
good.
on her face.
Yeah.
She's at work.
Yeah, any other from the board?
Nope.
Nope, okay. Well, all in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We have the consent agenda has been approved. Spotlight on success. Diana, I'll let you take it over from here.
Yeah, I just wanted to celebrate our attendance team, and I'm gonna hand out some certificates. We got a cake, not knowing that we would have this many in the audience, and kids always come first. So I am not sure how we're gonna divvy up this cake tonight.
Small pieces.
And I'm just gonna combine it with the other, because I'll do this celebration for the attendance team and hand out certificates. But this year, one of our goals was to improve student attendance, decrease chronic absenteeism, which is by the state noted as more than 2 or more absences in a month time. And we went from a 54% of students attending regularly to 72% in 1 year, so almost 20%. But our goal is to hit 90% next year in engaging students. And so I attribute this to the team who really did an absolute fantastic job behind the scenes, making phone calls and then following the truancy process. So I'm gonna just call the names. There's not everybody here. A lot of people had commitments tonight. But starting at the elementary school, Susan Rigby, who was our office attendance clerk, Matt Holzhauser, principal, Jan Luong, who's our office attendance office assistant at the middle school, Elena Velasquez, she's on her way home from Port Angeles at a medical appointment, so she might be here. Carla Jackson in her support role has done an absolute wonderful job in working with all 4 campuses, 5 campuses, so congratulations, Carla. And same thing with Ashlyn Coburn. Ashlyn, come up. Ashlyn and Carla did a lot of the work in interviewing students to find out what barriers they had and working with families, knocking on doors, and so thank you very much. Sue Romberg at the high school as office assistant, attendance clerk. Brenda King, Forks High School principal. And Cindy Spade, the alternative Homeschool Plus for your help. And Cindy Fiesel, where are you? You're right there. There you go. Congratulations. And then last but not least, well, I have 2 more. Tom Kent, who was our truancy liaison. Tom, thank you so much for spending 1 day a week in court, right? Yeah. And then last but not least, Lindsay Wallerstedt, who was our data coordinator. And again, that's a huge improvement, decreasing that by almost 20%. Let's give everybody a round of applause. We will continue to ratchet it up again next year. And I think we've got our systems in place now and really improving on communicating with our families to find out how we can better support them so that their students can attend. But I'm just very pleased with the work that the team did. And then it is also with sadness that we're saying goodbye to Matt Holzhauser. So we had one part of the cake that says congratulations. Another part of the cake says goodbye, Matt. Matt has been the principal at the elementary school. This is your sixth year. We were going on 7, but he will be transitioning to Algiers as the, what's your title going to be?
I'll be the director of the American International School of Algiers, Algeria.
But we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your support. The one thing I know is he's a celebrity with our children. He knows every student's name, and family members can oftentimes be seen cleaning the cafeteria, taking out trash. He's always at the bus stop in the front of the building. So Matt, we're really going to miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's give Matt a round of applause. How are we going to do this cake eating now? Do we say give it to the kids?
Yes.
So maybe after we do the next level of presentation from Forks Alternative School and Homeschool Plus, then we'll celebrate with a little bit of cake. How about that?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the Forks Alternative School and Homeschool Plus. Cindy, kick us off.
Can you get the presentation up?
Oh, this is not what I'm sharing.
There it is. I'll read some of it so everybody can kind of see it as well. But first of all, I want to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to highlight the alternative school and homeschool class. And be able to highlight some of the incredible work that you're going to see from students tonight, and some of the testimonials from students as well as their parents. So that's kind of the reason for some of the crowd out here as well. And I think you get the best insight when you hear from them than hearing what we see on our side. So just a quick overview on, wait a minute, let me back up a little bit because there's a lot of people involved in making all this happen too. And so I would like to also introduce Miss Whitehead, and she's the alternative teacher who has really done some incredible things at the alternative school. It really transformed. If you ever have an opportunity to pop in there and see that every time you walk through, kids are usually engaged. Except of course when they're on the break, but they're engaged and it's a really awesome environment in there. And it's the same thing with Mr. Bray. When you go over to her, she is our Homeschool Plus teacher and has done an incredible job over there, has made incredible connections with parents. As you can see in the community support, she's done several, and she'll talk about that later too, field trips, just all things that, and like I said, with your students, you're going to see the quality work that she has really brought out in these students as well. The overview on our alternative school, just so you can kind of understand what it's like. You can go ahead and click to the next one. Well, that's us there. If you don't know who we are by now. But anyway, some of the benefits that we have in the alternative school, and you'll again hear from students why they probably choose to go to the alternative or Homeschool Plus over brick and mortar. You'll hear those testimonials later. But one is just the individualized learning. And they receive that actually in both schools, but I'm going to try to stay with one because then I'll pop over it and then I'll have everybody confused, like myself. But anyway, every student gets on a written student learning plan, which we'll talk about and show you what those are about. But they're geared right to each student and their learning. Flexible schedules at the alternative school, so it does fit into their work schedule, or allows for other like family obligations or extracurricular small class sizes, so that's always been an advantage of the alternative schools plus the Homeschool Plus. The diverse educational approaches, so they can do project-based learning, or students are engaged with material in a meaningful way that they feel that is really pertinent to their plan and moving forward. It's support for at-risk students, so we can cater right to our at-risk students who may be struggling academically, socially, or emotionally. The same with providing support services and resources to help our students to overcome some of those challenges and be successful. We focus also on the social and emotional learning. We help students develop important life skills such as communication, problem solving, and self-regulation. And then there's alternative pathways to graduation. So besides the credit recovery, competency-based assessments, we use Edgenuity, the Avant, Youth Academy, and I'll explain that when it comes up a little bit later, the vocational training, and then GED practice. And then, of course, students feel valued, safe, and respected in our environment. Homeschool Plus, oh yeah, and so these are just some of the activities that we just kind of took a quick snapshot. So we had our seniors, usually they would cook breakfast for the alternative school kids on Fridays. So they were pretty proud of that. So were the kids actually eating it too. They really enjoyed it. They were really good students. We did the donuts for division by donuts. Is that what you did?
Fractions.
Fractions, yeah.
Fractions.
So it was a good learning lesson there. And then we go bowling on Mondays and Fridays, just for some little bit of enrichment and encouragement, and just to have a fun time and kind of celebrate some of the successes that they're showing within the classroom. Yeah, we can click there. Yeah, the Homeschool Plus overview. Once again, it's customized curriculum, which is nice for this because it is tailored to each individual's need. Learning style, interests for each student, and then parents can also adapt some of that curriculum because the parents are a really big part of the homeschool program. Flexible schedule that allows families to create routines that best fits their lifestyle and their priorities, their hobbies. Individualized attention, so they have one-on-one instruction for an hour at a time at the homeschool. Looks a little bit different than when we do our homeschool at the alternative school. When they're there at that time, they schedule that 1 hour time the students come in and with engagement with parents, and they focus on that curriculum that they have that day, and they kind of move forward from there. We're in the alternative school. We have where kids will check in, but they're more a little bit self-driven, so they can come in, check in, grab more work. If they need more assistance or time, then they sometimes don't spend that whole hour there. We have found actually at the alternative school that we have kids that are at home school that come in and spend quite a bit of time just during the day in our, the alternative school. If they're in the, this is gonna get weird now, I have so many acronyms. In the homeschool, Forks Alternative Homeschool, they will spend over there. Mr. Bray has also created time where students come in and spend a lot of extra time as well, kind of like either for intervention, study time, just to do other projects or work. And a lot of students have taken advantage of that. Again, it's a safe and comfortable learning environment. It's free from distraction or any negative influences that they might be present in a traditional setting. It does enhance socialization, contrary to the common misconception. Homeschool Plus students have ample opportunities for social through community activities, the sports, field trips, clubs. Like I said, Mr. Bray has taken and gone on several already activities. I believe you went on Milking the Whales. You did something down at Playlock. And I don't want to step on too much, but we'll probably step into that or talk about it sooner or later. And then, of course, personal paced learning. Again, each student is on a written student learning plan. Talk about those here in a second. Value-based education, and then academic excellence, where it has been seen where homeschool students consistently perform well academically and on standardized tests and college entrance exams. So that's kind of the brief overview of the two schools. When I talk about the written student learning plans, both teachers have and I believe I sent it to the board as well, but what they have.
Yeah, we got them right here.
Okay.
Oh, it's a full packet.
That's right. So there is quite a bit of work. When a student wants to either enroll into the alternative or homeschool plus, there is an in-district transfer form that each student fills out or parents fill out at first. And the initial page, it kind of tells what school you want to go to. And then you give a brief description of kind of what's going to make it different, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then we base that on the next meeting we have. And we modified this plan a little bit. Then the principals get together and when we have all the data, look at transcripts, look at, again, what's working, what's not working, discipline, anything else, and have a meeting, is this the right fit for the student? And of course, about 99 out of 9 chance it usually is, and then they move over. When they do go in there, if you're in a homeschool contract, then for the state, you do have to have a written student learning plan. And so what it is, it documents every single thing that you do, basically. It goes through and lists all your courses and your weekly meeting times. You have to sign up on your weekly meeting times. There's progress monitoring. If you are not making progress, then there's interventions that are being put into place. Then you go back and meet again. And it can be anywhere from about a 5 to 8 page document that the teachers are accountable for, and then they save all their work. So anything that the state was to come in and look to make sure that our students are getting that quality education, which I assure you that they are, then it's all documented on these papers. Any questions on the written student learning plans? And I guess I want to back up a little, is where we have changed it just a little bit, is we require all students. So even the kids that are coming in person, we give them a written student learning plan. So that way we can just monitor the learning and that they're moving forward how they should be. And again, like I said, if they aren't making progress, then we just adjust what they, what they're learning, or if the curriculum's too hard or if it's too easy, and we'll highlight a student tonight where he just was going through too. So anyway, questions on any of that? Okay. Anything you want to say about that little piece there, Mr. Gray?
No,
You're good?
Awesome faces that comes with us.
Okay, yes, a lot of awesome faces, a lot of fun things going on. Okay. Alternative school and homeschool plus enrollment. So this is kind of interesting. So our current enrollment at Forks High, our alternative school and homeschool plus is 54 students. And which is kind of interesting here. I know I've had conversations with Ms. Rayom as far as just kind of some of the trend. Seems like kids are moving kind of either into inside or homeschools or whatever it might be. So at the beginning of our school year at 9/5, September 5, we had 8 students enrolled in FAS. We had 0 students in the Forks Alternative School Homeschool Plus. Homeschool Plus, under Ashley, we had 19.4 students. And then at
Yeah, so the beginning enrollment was at 27.4.
yes, that's where I'm getting to. The total is
Okay.
27.4.
Okay, got it.
So with our growth, with that being 27, we had a 96.35% growth. And that's just saying that there's a trend. You know, I don't know if that's going to continue like that. I don't know if COVID brought that up, but there is a trend where students seem to be, that's the place where they either want to be in either a smaller environment or they don't want to be in the traditional learning
Or they
environment.
want flexible learning is
Flexible
what we're
learning.
learning across the nation at this point, yeah.
You can go back. I'm not quite ready for that one.
It goes all the way down to kindergarten?
Yes, so an in-person at the alternative school right now, we have 13 students that come in person. We've had more freshmen this year than we've had in the past, and they are doing a phenomenal job. So we have 7 freshmen, 1 junior, and 5 seniors. And Forks Alternative School Homeschool Plus, because we had so many under Mr. Bray, where she had actually 21's the cap, we had to bring some over to the alternative school. And Miss Whitehead has 18 in the Homeschool Plus. And so you can see we have 2 sophomores, 7 juniors, and 9 seniors. And then in the Homeschool Plus, right now we have 23 students at Homeschool Plus, and it is a K-12 program. And so when we get, or we have students, younger students that are wanting to enroll, and that's kind of why our numbers went up under Miss Whitehead, is when we're having younger students, Mr. Bray does the K-8, and so then we pop them over, so Miss Whitehead does the 9-12. So that's why our numbers kind of look there. So in kindergarten, we have 2, 3rd grade, we have 2 students, 4th grade, 1 student, 1 student in the 5th grade, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 9 in the 8th, 1 in freshman, 2 sophomores, and 2 seniors. Okay, attendance. And attendance is really interesting too. So Homeschool Plus, we have the 23 students. Out of those 23 students, 96 of those students have 3 or less absences. 16 of those students have perfect attendance. Kudos to you guys. 1 student has more than 3 absences, and all the absences are excused. So kids are wanting to be there, they're wanting to learn. The Forks Alternative Homeschool Plus, we have the 16 students, so that this gets a little bit trickier. There's a little bit more challenges from that our students are involved with. So we have 9 students that have 5 absences or less, 2 students who have perfect attendance, and then 5 students with more than 5. I like to just say more than 5, just because it looks, they're trying. So Forks Alternative School, we have 13 students. And what's really cool about this, we try to celebrate just those small successes, because when I say that we have 10% to 100% improvement, it's, let me back up a little. When we get a student that comes over from us, their attendance follows them. So if they pop into the alternative school, we're taking their attendance from day 1. So it just doesn't leave and get to from when they entered us. So we're picking up that. So we're always, for us to see growth, what we then look at is, okay, now you've gone through some of these things. You've gone through some interventions. Some of these kids have gone through, and that's where I'm going to get to my 100%, have gone through the court system, and then we're back in intervention again. And I've got a kid that since we've been on intervention into the court, now it's finally like popped into his head. I got it, you know? He's had 100% attendance, and I think his days are up to like 48 days now in a row. So to me, that's a huge success. And he also then received the student, the academic scholar for, I believe last month was one of them. So we have several students like that. Some kids are just 10% growth. We have others that, you know, at least what we're seeing is the absence are excused. They are calling in and they're wanting to be there and they're doing tremendous things. Curriculum, did I already go? Oh, the type of curriculum we have, and I want to thank the board again. We got the Power Basics curriculum. It's not quite here yet, but we're really excited to have it because what it has allowed us to do is it is geared toward, I can't remember if my glasses on or off, because it is designed around for struggling learners, students at risk, learning disabilities, remedial education, and differential instruction. And it does go from middle to high school. So we're really excited to have that curriculum, and it's every single subject that we have. We also have, of course, the Edgenuity, over 400 courses online. So if there are some more challenging courses or not quite as challenging, then we can utilize that. We also, we're fortunate enough to be okay to get our robot lab VR expedition. We finally got it kind of up and running with Ms. Whitehead's great technology skills there. But kids can go on like over 700 VR field trips, whether it's in space, underwater, whatever it might be, and you can tie it into your lessons. So it's been we haven't quite used it that much yet, but when they did use it, I think Elliot could attest to that too, on some of the places you went to. Project-based learning, just being able to reach out, and the work experiences, trying to have some more community partnerships within our local community. And then of course the GED support classes, we're just finding that for some kids, you know, that's their focus, that's what they want to do. And if at least we can get them there to do that, then it works for us. Homeschool Plus, kind of the same thing. Ms. DeBray has gotten a great library resource put together. She also has pulled texts and resources from the elementary school, the middle school, the high school, and ours. The Power Basics curriculum, that she is more than welcome, that we share quite a bit of curriculum at times. And it's with whatever works, the same thing with Edgenuity, and then project-based learning. Youth Academy, this is another one of our support. I believe that we use it over here at the high school as well. I've had several students go through the program and be very successful and come back and do really well in school. So it's for kids who are credit deficient. You have to be 16 or older. Usually they like your junior year rolling into it. But when you do go to Youth Academy, and it's in Bremerton, yeah, they go there. What is it again? It's a 22-week course. They have to go in and they have to want to go. It's like receiving a $24,000 scholarship. You go in, you stay there, you live there, you do everything there, but you come back with at least 8 credits or more. They'll give you a mentor up to 2 years after you return. So the goal is even though you're there, you have to come back, you graduate from the school that you left from, and then 2 years, you have a mentor 2 years after that. To follow you through to make sure those kids are successful. And like I said, we've had several students go through the program. So it's a really cool program. Forks Alternative Homeschool, we have academic excellence. So every month, students are nominated monthly for the academic scholar, and they receive a certificate and a $10 Bug and Buff MOCA card. And then recognition on Class Dojo and in the Forks Forum. So you can see we've had quite a few kids get that honor. We've had several. Tanisha Fisher, I have to say, is one, and she's gotten it 3 different times, and Chloe's going to be up again. So if she's not listening, she was supposed to be here tonight, but she's not, but that's okay.
I like seeing that in Forks Forum every weekend.
Cool.
I follow that.
Cool. We also do, so dojo points. Judy, do you want to talk about a little bit about the dojo points?
So I use Class Dojo. They get points for every period they're there. They get points for every period they're working. They get points for every lesson they complete. They get points for every test they complete. They get points for being good humans. They cash those points in for chips or cup noodles or candy bars. But for every 25 points they earn, they get a little ticket and it goes into a drawing. And Cindy has a whole bunch of prizes up on the shelf that they get to draw names out and win prizes up there. So they want those points. And I think it's nice. They like being able to get a snack. Did I earn enough points to get a snack yet? Maybe you should do some more work. But yeah, it's a nice way to keep track of it.
And by the way, Judy used Dojo at the elementary school. All of our elementary teachers use it. Some of our middle school teachers use it, but it really is a pretty effective tool. And it was interesting for me that the high school level kids like it just as much as the elementary kids.
Well, it's nice because they can text me in it, and it's not my cell phone number. It's through the program. So it's just a text. They can text me and say, hey, I need you to unlock a test, or I'm homesick today, or whatever. And that's where they live. They live on text. So it was an easy way to make it work for them, and they use it. And they even like to play Dojo Island. Don't ask them, but they do.
It has been a really good form of communication. I found the same even with those high school students, because we've had 100% connection with students and parents at the alternative school, and then we get another student, and then we can't get one or the other. So we're at 93% there, I believe, or 96, 93.
Something like that. We're missing 2 parents.
Yes, and at Homeschool Plus, kind of the same thing. We keep gathering more or whatever, but we're at 83% there. So it has been a really good communication piece. I don't think I would have ever thought that either, because it's always been I've always known it as kind of elementary, middle school, but it's really working well for us. And then we can put all kinds of things on there, so it's really cool. Ashley, do you want to talk about your dojo?
Sure. Our class dojo is set up a little bit different because I do K through 12, and the younger students, they need to be motivated a little bit more frequently and more of their level. So every 2 weeks, we reset the points, and twice a month, 2 students have an opportunity to earn a little reward, whether it's a miniature Squishmallow or a mini Lego. And I just really think it's important for them to feel like that they're getting some kind of win under their belt, so they feel and continue to be motivated for what the next week has to hold. So it's every 2 weeks, there's something to look forward to instead of just this mountain of work waiting for them to maybe get a reward for at the end, especially for these young people. So that's what we have right there for the 2-week point rewards. And they can earn rewards by, parents can allocate 10 points a day at home. They can also take them away. If I'm only meeting up with, making contact once a week, you need to let the parents obviously feel like they have enough. They do have a lot of power to yield at home and to motivate their own kids. So sometimes it works, and if I don't hear anything, they all just get full points, and everybody's jumping every 2 weeks, and it's super fun to have that healthy competitions. And also the dojo, we continue to use it as almost like a virtual yearbook is kind of how I'm thinking. As the weeks go on, I'll post what's been going on, every win, every event, anything that I see students being creative with, I'll post and share it for the rest of the class to feel like they have a sense of community. And I post motivational things that I find online, and it's just really fun. Instead of, we don't have a personal yearbook over there, but I do think if I were to make one, it would be everything from this class dojo that I posted. So, and everybody can interact with it. It's just good. It's right there in their pocket. And essentially, our Homeschool Plus victories, I brought who I could today. We have Amara Fox right here, and we have Jace with us, and Owen, and representing Ryan Williams is his mother here, Shannon. And Lillian Shotwell is another 8th grader who I really wanted to give a spotlight to. She's not being represented here today other than by me, but I did bring some of her work. So I'm not sure if one of these guys want to get up first and share how this program has benefited them, or how they feel like they've enjoyed or not this year.
I've been part of the Homeschool Plus program since beginning at middle school, and it has allowed me to, going into Running Start next year, I was allowed to go through that program faster than I would a normal high school, hitting every necessary point within a curriculum while not feeling like it is being repeated, because I learn very quickly in most subjects. And by allowing me to progress further, I was allowed to, I don't exactly know how to put it, but I was allowed to go further and faster and, for example, do 9th grade work and 8th grade once I had finished my 8th grade level work. And it has allowed me to retain the information in order to pass the active placer and go into Running Start as, yeah.
Thank you.
Jace is also another student who has
Yes, I'm on that.
been able to use the learning plan.
I got it.
Very
It's
similarly.
heavy. It's a hefty.
And he got a hefty box here.
That was funny.
So just like we started with, finished working with.
I'm not gonna squish the cake.
Jace has taken and ran with Alden his opportunity and his AccuPlacer.
You guys can pass that.
He tested into
You got your
more
I have to
college
pass the page
classes
out.
than most adults would be able to. It is, he is phenomenal.
Yep, so oh my God, you bubbled my ideas on you did. But it has,
Is that plagiarism?
no, he hasn't seen it. Just came up with similar ideas.
I'm kidding.
The Homeschool Plus program has helped me excel. Thanks to my supportive family, I was also able to make the most of it with material they also provide, along with my 2 Homeschool Plus teachers that I've had since I began at the Homeschool Plus, Ms. Debray and Mr. Hunt. They've helped me go forward at a rapid pace, letting me just take off with whatever subjects I want to learn. All this work has been in 1 year's time. And it, as Fiesel has said, it helped the program adapt to a student, and if they're falling behind in certain subjects, they help support in that area. And I have excelled because of the program, and I'm going into the Running Start Peninsula College 1 whole year earlier than normal. We'll be starting it in my normal 10th grade. What would normally be my 10th grade year, I'm going into the Running Start program.
Good. What are you gonna do after that?
I'm not really sure what I would choose as a career path right now.
I think I looked through there and I saw chemistry.
Yep.
Yep, I was pretty impressed with your chemistry. But out of all of the subjects, what's your favorite?
I like the sciences, natural science, chemistry.
Math, you're real good at.
Was fun too, and I'm real good at math. I've had a lot of fun in English too, reading older works.
Are you excited for Running Start?
Yep, I am excited.
I'd like to point out that that box is a representation from, like you said, the entire this last year.
15 credits.
And it's a full 15.5 credits. And he did all the work, absolutely all of it. He went through every textbook, and he has been able to hit every single course concept and his college placement tests, he surpasses what he is supposed to be having in order to even enroll in community college. He and Owen both actually are able to take the CLEP test, which they have an opportunity to potentially test out of 34 subjects in their own. So we'll see.
Yep.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
And then just kind of jumping over to Ryan Williams, he's our 5th grader, and academics are really very easy for him. He's very gifted intellectually, and we use Homeschool Plus as a social, emotional growth environment for him, and we have been able to meet and exceed so many goals. Shannon is just an amazing instructor at home, and we're able to celebrate him every week. And he gets to make friends, and Eden Fox, she was just right here, but she has been, Ryan has been able to make friends, and we're very, very grateful for that opportunity. And like I said, academics are not his problem. Like he doesn't even have me. He just needs somewhere where he can be himself, and the environment facilitates that.
My son's on the autism spectrum,
No, you're
but it's such a warm and positive space for him to come to and interact with some of his peers on a limited basis, because he does get so overwhelmed being in a brick and mortar situation for too long. So it's great we can have little gulps of social interactions along with his academic advancement.
And sometimes those meetings, they look like meeting up and swapping learning materials, and then loading up the kids who I might have there, or the other parents that want to work together. And then we go to the park, and then we have an outside PE time together where they can interact at their grade levels, or even within a few staggering grade levels. It's been amazing. And also, then you jump over to Amara over here, who is so amazing. And I have had an amazing privilege in opening the gate and watching her build on her own interests. We have been able to take the written learning plan and create an intervention plan, because we worked through most of the grade level workbooks. And she blew through the science, and instead of moving on to 9th grade science, the idea was, well, why don't we meet the rest of our state standard requirements for social studies, art, and ELA by blending them together and making big projects. And we did 3, and this last one she has gone above and beyond. Amara, would you like to share what you've chosen to do for your 3rd semester project? The first project, it's mainly learning about the writing process. And the first essay you do, you have 500 word minimum, 2 resources. You learn the citation process and everything. The second one you do, it's 1,000 words, 3 resources. The third one you do is 1,500 or more words, 4 resources. And I'll let her take and run with this one.
Three semester projects. That's for this one. It was really hard, but I'll let her do this. And I'm glad for Miss Ashley. I'm grateful for her, because in the public school I was able to go to this level of being able to and yeah, this one They're being sold for $500.
Wow.
And I will taking this to W events and
On display, she has a copy of her APA 7 formatted essay, and on the other side, she has the documented bill of sale, photos during the transaction and signing. It's very exciting. And we're going to be ordering a few more canvases because it sounds like she has 2 more orders of the same painting that's coming up. So
Awesome.
pretty amazing. And yeah, it's been really cool to see how she has leaned into her interests. And as long as we can focus on that, build around it, the rest of it is just a formality check off for state standards for the rest of the course materials. And she nails all of it. It's amazing. It's been quite a privilege. And then even though she's not here, I'm gonna talk her up a little bit. We have Lillian Shotwell, who is also a very gifted artist. She's very shy, not coming in today. But however, she came into a homeschool class and ready to move on. She blew through the 8th grade curriculum and she chose to do Art 1, Science 9, and those are the two, sorry, I can't think of it right now. But anyways, jumping into her Art 1, I gave her the packet of what is supposed to be hit for that year, and she went through and she hit every single one, every single technique, no problem. There are no words. And I have to give this back to her because it is her treasure brainchild, just like Jason's hefty box and Amara's canvases. But again, it's just giving them all the tools that they need and the space to run. I just can't say what it's been a privilege to see what they choose to do with it. Again, while all of these state standards. So that is fine. That's just a sample.
Great.
And if anybody else from Homeschool Plus wants to get up and sing, I feel like I want to pick it up. You don't have to.
Guys, you only do have to get up. I'm Heidi Murphy, and my daughter Mindy Murphy goes to the Homeschool Plus. She's been going there since 1st grade. And these last 2 years, since Ashley has been at the Homeschool Plus, Mindy has really come out of her shell. She is also on the autism spectrum. She's very, she gets overstimulated really, really easy, and she doesn't like crowds. So even when we go into the Homeschool Plus, she has to be sure that she's alone and everything's quiet. But this year, she has actually come out and spent time with some of the kids. She's come to a couple of parties, which she doesn't do. And her general outlook on school has been absolutely amazing. She did not like school before. And now these last 2 years have been just incredible. Her math has been really hard for her. And this year she has come so far. I'm so proud of her. She's finished everything for this year. She's finished all of her books. And she is not quite up to her grade level yet, but she is getting there and she's excited about it. And that's what I'm excited about, is because she's excited and it makes her want to come to school. And she just adores Ashley. They click. And so Ashley knows how to teach her, and Mindy knows how to learn from her teaching. And it's been the most wonderful experience for her. And I'm excited to have my daughter going there and to be under Ashley's teaching has been amazing. So
She even participated in the state testing. And was
she
excited about
did,
it.
which
She
was,
really
yeah,
excited
it was
about it.
incredible.
We're excited about
And-
the state testing.
And for that, like I said, she doesn't like crowds of people. And the last test that she did, the only room that was available, there was 2 other kids in there. And we asked her, did you want to, go somewhere else, like in a corner or something? She said, no, I want to go sit in here. So even though they weren't talking and they weren't like together, they were very separate. But even though they were all in the same room, and she was okay with that. And that to me that's a huge thing for her. So to even have that bit of her emotional side open up to just be able to start talking to people and making friends, and it's just made her whole outlook so much more positive, and it's making her love school, and that makes me happy. So I'm a very happy parent. So. Yeah.
I feel the same way. My daughter Saoirse started going to Miss Ashley a bit ago, and my coworker is actually Lillian's mom. She's at work right now in the lab, and she had heard about this program because I was talking about it because of how successful Saoirse immediately became. Similar story to your kid. She had a hard time. She gets overstimulated. She's in California visiting family right now, and she's overstimulated there. And so she has a really hard time in this traditional setting. And towards the end of that period of time, she was like going into bathrooms and just locking herself in there and just praying for the day to be over. I bring her over to this program, and it's night and day. She suddenly wants to do things that she never was stoked about doing before. She doesn't want to come in and look at things under a microscope, but she totally loves writing things and doing research about bands that she loves, which is cool, super cool. And she's learned bigger concepts through her own filter. And she's allowed that through her, which I couldn't be more thankful of, because if she was still going down that same path, she wouldn't have this amount of growth. And I think that that's true for every single kid that I have ever experienced that has had an experience with you. So I couldn't be more thankful for this program and for Miss Ashley. And I hope that all of these kids continue, because I just don't know what would have happened to Saoirse if I didn't make that decision to take her out of this traditional setting and put her into something that works so much better for her. So much better. So thank you.
Working through every math problem.
She doesn't, my first major was math, but she doesn't like it.
Lessons outside of her reading a week. So I'm seeing Saoirse 3 times a week. And we're hitting every single math goal. Got her up to snuff, ready to go into 9th grade Algebra 1 textbook in the fall. Just so cool.
We do have one from the alternative school. At least one of ours showed up from the alternative school, and it's one of our students. And she goes to both schools right now, so she's part of the high school end. So do you want to share kind of your experience? And this is Elliot Del Nero.
You want me to come up?
Sure, I'd love to see you.
Okay. I've been preparing.
So I transferred into the Alti probably in around February, and it was.
We don't play.
I transferred into the Alti about February, and as soon as I got in there, my mom could attest to this if she was here. She would say my daughter's attitude would change from night to day. It was a complete change for me. I don't have to deal with the passing period chaos of the big school. The constant, like, getting up in class and getting a ruler was so scary. Like, everyone's staring at me, there's so many eyes, it's constant movement, it's constant. You have to move at your teacher's pace, not your own pace. And it was just a complete, it's for me. I'm not the best student, I'm not the worst student, but it's really helped me, and they have a lot of options, a lot of accommodations that they make available, and they make sure that it's available to me and that I know it's available. And I especially want to thank Ms. Whitehead.
She's finished 4 credits since February.
Wow,
Nice.
that's incredible.
Good job. Ms. Whitehead is my star. I think it's because of you that I look forward to go to school.
Oh, I'm glad.
So, thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
I'm not sure what's next. Communication, this just goes back that Ms. Spade, I didn't introduce you in the beginning, did I? I am so sorry, Ms. Spade. Ms. Spade has been in this district forever. So probably everybody already knows who she is. But anyway, she does an amazing job for us over there. And she makes calls every morning around 9 o'clock, unless something else comes up, then those calls go out a little bit later so we can kind of tag to find out where you are if you're not in the building somewhere. Class Dojo, again, we talked about that, 93% of parents connected and 83% for Homeschool Plus. We do it through email, Google Classroom, Zoom. When we have our conversations, if they can't make it in on their hour, at least that you're having that two-way face-to-face conversation. Phone calls, of course, the Forks Forum, and then US mail. We're really trying to improve our partnerships with the community. We do work with Peninsula colleges and some of the things that they have offered in the past. I think they did a flagging one. We try to get one of our students to go into and kind of align it to their pathway, so it just brings up more opportunities for students. DDR services, and they meet with a few of our students over there. Is it once a week or is it once a month?
It was once a week.
Once a week. And so there has been some opportunities reported to them at there. Of course, all the armed services, feeding the 500,000. That's Mr. Breakers.
Yeah, he also helps with the culinary arts students from the Homeschool Plus, gives them an opportunity to go in there and learn some skills and have that count for engagement. And also he drops off lunches, and we also tell people to go and have lunch over there on Tuesdays. So, awesome.
And then, of course, the Bogus Hill Garden Club, we're just getting that back up and running again, and we'll be partnering with, it's Linda Wells, I believe, who runs it. So kind of changing a little, we'll still do the baskets, since that's kind of been the thing, but vegetable starters, and I'm trying to think of some of the other things that you were.
I think we're going to do basket stuffers and vegetable starters.
That's what it was. Okay. Oh, it's probably like on this page here for fundraising opportunities. So the Bogus Hill Garden Club, vegetable starters, and the flower basket. We, somewhere down the road, we have this 3D printer. We're not quite sure where that is yet. But anyway, we did get a Cricut and a heat press, so we can do our own t-shirts and fundraising there. Arts and crafts by Miss Whitehead. So she is very crafty on these Christmas ornaments, the origami and the Moravian stars. The face painting, and the bake sale.
Amar's face painting, bake sale. A lot of it will be made by Mr. Breaker for them to sell. So.
And then, of course, we've already actually done all our exciting, can't wait to talk in front of the board. So we can go on from there. And this is just then a conclusion, of course, then of the wrap up of the difference or what we offer at the alternate school. So individualized learning, flexible schedules, small class sizes, social emotional learning, alternative graduation pathways, and safe supported environment, same as at Homeschool Plus. We have the customized curriculum, written student learning plans, flexible schedule, lifestyle and interest, individual attention, safe learning environment, strong family bonds, and enhanced socialization opportunities and academic excellence. So, any questions? Board members, any questions?
No, I'd just like to say, my time on the board, this is the first time I've seen anything about the homeschool plus or alternative school. It's pretty insightful, really. I didn't have any idea it was like it is, so it's.
Well, and I think Cindy and her team have done a great job this year of getting some things re-implemented. COVID was a little bit rough, and then changing some of our teachers, certified teachers. So congratulations, you guys have done a great job with our kids and our families.
And we couldn't do it like the support. Yeah, we've had great family support. I mean, it's been tremendous. You can see, like I said, who we have with our homeschool crowd here. We've actually had some pretty good support just with the families we've had at the alternative school. And again, we couldn't do it without the kids. I mean, you guys are the rock stars. You're the ones that make us look good. All right.
So I'm wondering if we could cut up the cake and then we'll do, or do you want to do the, how long is your presentation, Cheryl? You're next on the agenda.
You said 10 to 15 minutes, but realistically.
What you say?
What do you want to do? I mean, I was just thinking if the kids want a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Celebrate this presentation there.
Okay. Well, you want to just take a 5-minute break then while we get the cake served, or do you want to continue to go?
Yeah, no, we could do a 5-minute break.
Okay.
That'd be fine.
You got ice cream with that too?
We don't have ice cream. If you would like a piece of cake, raise your hand so that.
Gotta be more than that. I didn't have any idea that's really what that thing. Yeah, the homeschool plus.
She's with.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Sounds like some kids are benefiting from it.
No chocolate.
You want chocolate?
There's a little bit more.
I gave her a cola. Thank you. And offer that was mine. Where?
Are you trying to? Yes.
Oh, it's one of those. Raise your hand. I did not raise my hand.
It's like, well, come on, we all know that Morgan is cute. There's no cute in that.
It's super humble.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, she did a Pearl Jam once.
Oh, your mom is?
Yeah. For his 8th grade graduation. I didn't get anything for my 8th grade graduation.
Mike?
It's chocolate.
I wish I could go to
Well,
I'm not sure. You just say.
your mom, that's your mom.
I was
But Pearl Jam's the same era. Okay, all right, that's very fine.
No, I know.
It's on the edge of my. For my musical.
Probably not. Actually, it's hard to get anything on that.
Yeah, I was thinking.
No, I know, well,
Yeah, almost. Like PA every day. Oh, that's right. November.
They said that chicken hands.
You want a piece of cake?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Cindy, you want a piece of cake?
I'm definitely gonna listen to Get to tell each other.
Hey, Ron, when we get to the next one, Brenda King is not here, so just introduce Cheryl. I was gonna have the principals introduce their people. And then Elena, it's gonna be Emily Johansson.
Okay.
I used to stay with him, so. That's good. Small world sometimes.
So Brenda's not here, so what are we gonna do?
Introduce
Cheryl.
Cheryl. That was all, I was just gonna have the building principals introduce themselves.
Yeah. Substitute.
She got it.
So do you want to get moving? Okay. We're gonna get back and. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the cake and the little break. So we'll get back on schedule here. We have the leadership report, for high school student college visits, and Cheryl Archibald is going to introduce the students or talk.
Yeah, both.
Both. There we go. You have the floor.
All right, so, I was reflecting how this started. So this year I became, took on the National Honor Society, so I'm Cheryl Archibald. There you go, that's who I am. And this is, I think, my 33rd year. 33rd or 34th. And I've been at the high school for 7 years, I don't know, something like that. And I took on National Honor Society last year, and my own kids graduated, 6 and 4 years ago from Forbes High School. And one of the things that I've come to know since I've been at the high school and been really aware of is our students who would potentially be interested in attending university and just don't have the background knowledge. And as a community, us not having the background knowledge. And watching my own teaching students who wanted to go to college, who were interested and weren't successful, and partly or floundered, didn't know how to get there. And so when I took on National Honor Society, I went to Brenda with the idea and wondering, could we do college visit trips and kind of have National Honor Society sponsor it? Could we do this? And she said, make it happen. And the first thing I need to do is thank Brenda, thank the high school, thank the district for supporting these trips. I think my understanding is that the money comes from lots of different places, and I just want to thank the support and being told, go for it. So one of the beginnings, yes.
I'm gonna just put a plug in. One of the expectations of the high school is to get kids college and or career readiness. So this is one of the activities that is funded by our local levy dollars. So we take field trip money, and that's where we paid for it for that. But I just want to make sure that our community understands when we pass our educational programs and operational levy, how important it is that it touches kids. There, perfect. I'll shut up.
So, no, it's lovely. So, one of my starting points was that I wanted our students to know that they have kids, Forks High School students, who have gone on to university. And one of my reasons to get it going so quickly was that Brenna King is at Central, a senior at Central. This year, she is about to graduate. We've got Nicole Winger, and there's more, but at that point, Brenna was my first contact person, Nicole Winger at Eastern, and then Madeline, my daughter Madeline at Gonzaga, who just graduated. And so I wanted them to have those connections with Forks High School students. And I was hoping Aaliyah Gillette was here because she was gonna talk about how meeting Brenna and getting a chance to talk to Brenna totally shifted her world, and that they have been in contact. So that was kind of the beginnings of what I wanted to happen. And so that was why I picked these 3 schools, because I knew we had students at those schools. Go ahead and go. So we took this trip in the fall, and then I took the same trip in the spring just because it was so impactful. So we take 2 days. It is 2 very, very full days. We have to leave at 5 a.m. Because we have our tour at Central at 11:30 in the morning. And part of the things that have happened is I've now built relationships with the admin teams administration teams. So it's Sarah at Central, who I now next time will call and say, lunch is too long. And so the first time Brenna met us, came with the tour. We have a tour, we get to go on campus. In the spring, Riley Persley joined us and had lunch with us. And then David Alvarez was supposed to, and he had to go to work, so he couldn't. But, Janessa Ramos will be attending next year, and I already have contact. She's excited. That's one of the cool, funny things that's happening, is she's like, oh, I can't wait, so I can show things off. Then we go, so we have a full-blown tour at Central. This last time we had admissions presentation. I'm learning, so one of the things is I, as an adult, am learning things about universities I had no idea, as well as with the kids, and I'll show that in a minute. Then we go to Eastern, get there about 4:35-ish. Nicole meets us in the fall. Luke was around and had dinner with us and then took us for a tour. I don't know where he was this spring. He was busy. He didn't join us. I don't know if he even knew that. I don't know. Nicole,
I'm busy with football.
Yeah, but Natalie Berry, who just started, non-traditional student now, just went back. She joined us for lunch, for dinner as well. And again, our kids got to talk to students who are attending. The other big thing is we have lunch on campus in the dining halls we did at Central and at Eastern. Then after dinner, we head to Spokane. One of the amazing things, we stay at Oxford. I'll go there in a minute. But Oxford Inns is in downtown. It's on the riverfront walk near Gonzaga. And one of the beautiful things is it's in a place where we can experience Spokane a little bit. So Aaliyah was supposed to talk. We're not there. So one of my discoveries, so one of the levels of education as an advisor, I found out that Central has 2 different programs, and I suspect many universities have this, but you can't ask questions that you don't know. So this is one of the things that now I know to ask this question. So Central has a program called CAMP that's specifically for migrant and seasonal farm working students. And so if they attend camp and they register with camp, they get special services that help them make sure that they can be successful. So they're migrant working students, their families are migrant workers, and they specifically have programming to support them. Another program, TRIO, and again, I think many universities probably have similar programs. Now I can say So do you have something like Central's Trio? And it's specific, and this one you have to apply for, and only 225 students can do. It's for first generation students and low income students, which 75, 80% of our students fit those categories. And it gives them, if they get into the program, they have specific supports. They have a whole litany of supports. So that's education at an adult level that I had no idea existed. Go ahead. So one of the things when we go, this was at Spokane, the levels, I can't even begin to start telling you about the levels of experience and learning. So not only, and I'm going to have Omran here talk a little bit about that spring admissions and his experience, but one of the things I didn't plan on is the fact that most of our kids, many of our kids have never been on the other side of the state. And in fact, Omran's the one, he was my navigator in the van, and we got to Spokane, he's like, wait a second, we're almost to Idaho. And so they get to see, they're at Central and see what that's like. Eastern's campus is really different. And then we get to go downtown Spokane, and where the hotel is, because it's on the riverfront park, it's a safe space. And so we're able to walk to the pavilion. One of my highlights is they turn the corner, and I don't know if you've been there, but it's a beautiful, they turn the corner into the pavilion and see the lights, and it's like, they just stand there. And then they get to play, because we've already been on 2 campuses. And we literally go to a park. Day 2, and so that's our play, and the Oxford has lots of students from all over the place, which is lovely, because that's the scariest part to me, is I have to say, okay, you guys, be good. Then this time, the first time we went to Gonzaga, Madeline took us for a tour, which was lovely. And what I found out this time on accident is we hit the Gonzaga Spring Preview Day, which is for students from all over the country, whoever comes in their families, and our kids got to do that. And they're separated from us, and it was a full preview day, and you've got the whole thing separated. So campus tour, student council, financial aid information, lunch was free to us because GU provided it with, and there were kids from all over the place, and academic information sessions where they had to pick an area and go see and talk about it. And Omran, would you please talk about how that was important to you?
So that spring preview day at Gonzaga, I was able to learn about my specific major. I want to go into biology. And I was able to not only meet other students who are more experienced in these things and talk to them about it, but I was also able to ask specific questions about that major. And what's cool is that we were able to ask those questions while touring around the campus and the buildings that we would be around in. It was a great gift to be able to get a visual reference to what a day would be like while being able to ask questions about the intellectual side of the major. I was able to learn about the extensive biology lab that they have at Gonzaga, and some of the fact that my specific area is forensics, and that they are one of the few universities that have a forensics program. And that was really exciting to me. Is there anything else you wanted to?
I think that covered it. I just wanted that it was specific. Yeah. And that goes to any university you want to go to. Yeah. You now know questions to ask.
And that was another big thing, is knowing which questions to ask.
So learning that vocabulary. Yep. So then one of the other things that I learned that I kind of knew, but this is huge for our community, is that, so for instance, Gonzaga has, it's called the GAP, Gonzaga Access Pledge, and I have since found out that many universities have this. I don't find out which ones do. And so if you get a Pell Grant, then you can be eligible just by, if you get into Gonzaga, you get their Access Pledge, which fills the gap between your financial aid and tuition, guaranteed for 4 years. The little bit of research I've done, Whitworth has that, Whitman has it, They're under different names, so I asked, and this is me building, now I'm friends with Steve, who's head of admissions at Gonzaga. While kids were doing stuff, I cornered him and asked him questions. And one of the things I said, so is it only private schools that have this? And he said, no, it's a mixture. There's some public, some private that have the fill the gap. So we need a database that has, who has to lead, because again, and then the other thing I asked, and this is delightful, I had a chance, was, so how, is there a number? Is there a way we can tell our kids, if you get in, you can go to school for free. You can go to school or close to, get support. And what he said was, before this year with FAFSA, he would have said with a surety, if you're free and reduced lunch, you will get a Pell Grant. And if you get a Pell Grant, you're eligible for this Gonzaga Access Plan and other schools that fill the gap. He says now they've changed it, and he can't say that 100%, but basically our kids that are free and reduced lunch have access to this. So didn't know that, couldn't tell, and it's one of those myths that our kids think they can't afford to go to university. Our families can't think you can't afford to go to university. If you're free and reduced lunch, you get in, especially with our community support, you can go to university. So, few of the benefits, and I'm not going to go over them. The layers are just insane. I had no idea what I've learned, what students learned, and so Morgan's going to talk a little bit about her just it becoming real.
All right, so should I stand up for this?
Yes.
Yeah, stand up.
Introduce yourself. What grade are you?
I'm a sophomore, rising junior. My name is Morgan. Something that I think I liked most about this trip that you really just need to go on a trip to know is there's a lot of things on this trip that you can only learn, like you can't learn on the website. You can't learn it by reading all about the college. You can't learn it by going to ask students online what their experience was. You have to be there. And one of those things was like traditions, like community life, the culture of the school, and the way that students treat each other, and the way that the schools ran, stuff like that, very niche things. I think mine, the one that I liked the most, I'm trying to recall it here, I had one. And it's a large one.
You told me about that Central you knew you
Oh, right. There's something that I would have never known, and that Central has 100% guaranteed admissions if you have a 3.0 or higher, no essay required. And if there's something else, but if you pretty much on free reduced lunch, you can apply for free, so no charge free when you go to apply. So in short, I could go on their website or whatever, apply. It could take like 10 minutes and be 100% accepted to Central if I have a 3.0 or higher. It's a great college. I'm excited for that. So that's my new safety net. But I would have never known to look out for Central if it weren't for this trip, and I think that that's amazing. And that's something that
and you added to your pro and con list, didn't you?
I did. I had a huge pro and con list for every college.
And there were questions. So she left one college and started going through it, and you added and this is one of the huge parts, is that vocabulary, knowing the questions to ask. She started looking at different things because of what she discovered at Central. Questions she didn't even know to ask. Cool. Or to consider.
Mm-hmm. Quite cool.
All right. And Molly, things that you kind of experienced and introduced.
Kind of like the takeaway thing you were saying earlier. Okay. I'm gonna stand up too.
Yes.
This is part of getting ready for college.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Molly Franklin. And my biggest takeaway, junior, rising senior. My biggest takeaway from going on the college trip was the food. It wasn't free. I thought college food was free. It helped me learn that I don't have to be rich to go to college. And
you don't have to go into debt to go to college too.
Yeah. And I also learned that there wasn't very many art programs that I could look into, and I'd have to go to like a specific art school for me if I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So.
About information. So is huge. And I asked them, was it worth the college having the connections with Forks High School students? They said, absolutely. It made it real to know that we have kids that have done it. Myth busting, from college meals being free to somebody said, this looks like it's fun. We got to go in residence hall rooms and see what that looks like. And the fact what a schedule is, and that if you're at a quarter school, you have 3 classes a day that you can work, you can do all that stuff. So there's that, the vocabulary, hearing it over and over and over again, started to know, so they know the questions to ask and bring back to the community. The cultural experience, I think getting on the east side of the mountains and feeling the difference, how Central feels different than Eastern, and Eastern feels different than Gonzaga in the city. And being in the city and being safe in the city, being in a place where, because a lot of our kids' city is a evil word, and the fact that it was fun and it was beautiful and it was wonderful. What I noticed on both trips is kids came back with confidence, that they came back standing tall. So it really is tools. I hope we continue this. I had initially thought, my thought was to kind of change and go to different schools. I'm kind of rethinking that partly because of the relationships I'm building with admissions. I'm also seeing that doing this Thursday, Friday, the Friday trip, and doing the spring preview day at Gonzaga was insane, was so amazing. And they're the only ones I've found that have a Friday preview day. Everybody else is Saturdays and Thursdays and Mondays. So we'll see. But my hope is that to start doing parent meetings and being able to educate parents. Because not only students need to be educated, but for letting parents know that all of the myths, how many kids I think they can't afford to go to school. And the reality is in our community, they can afford to go to school and how to do that. And so starting to see. One of the other benefits I picked up is talking to Steve at Gonzaga. They'll do meetings for us for free. And yes, it'll be under Gonzaga, but he said it's the same information. He'll do a financial aid night, Zoom in and do their whole presentation on financial aid for our parents. They'll do first gen, they have different presentations. And I'm sure lots of universities would do it. You just have to ask and to know that that exists. So I'm hoping we start bringing more staff as well, so we're educated. So thank you again. And questions you want to ask students, you want to ask me?
What's your favorite college?
Central. Mine was Central.
Central or Gonzaga?
No Eastern?
So how many you take over?
We took the first time, we took 11, and it was a pretty quick turnaround because to get, the school started, let's go, let's do it before snow falls, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking.
Well, there was touch and go. We will have better vans arriving soon. The vans were pretty rough too, right?
Yeah. Well, they don't know. They're happy. They're not having to drive. But we took 11, and what we started with was to start with National Honor Society students, as it's officially National Honor Society sponsored. And a bunch of them could not go because there was an English paper due. So in the fall they couldn't go, and so then we dropped. Then we went to students, juniors and seniors had a 3.0 or above, and kind of waded through. And of course it was new and getting that. So we took 11. This time there was a much more lead-in, had a lot more time to be able to prep. So we had 14, 2 full vans. Lori Yonser drove both times, was my partner in crime, and 14, and this time it was most of the National Honor Society students went that are sophomores or juniors, and So the hope would be in the fall, since we caught most of them, probably it would start with those students, but then it would be juniors and seniors who are brick and mortar college bound, probably 3.0 or above GPA, and kind of start with people in those honors classes and then kind of open it up. I would hope we do it twice a year. I'm excited we have new vans because they're a little scary.
They get big.
Other questions?
Just want to thank you because I know it's a personal commitment. It takes time out of your life, but it also takes time away from other students in your classroom because you have to get a sub, and that's a lot of work. So thank you for investing in our future sitting right in front of us.
It's amazing. And the conversations have already changed. Brad asked, my husband asked, so what about the kids that aren't college bound that went on the trip? And the reality is they learned, if in 10 years they decide to go to college, it's real, it's a place. And that's the other big thing these guys talked about. It's like, it's not this outside, this dream. It's a real place, a real thing. If it's their kids want to go to college, and again, they have something to attach it to, it's a real possibility. So who knows? I think it's no matter what. And if it's just the fact they got on the east side of the mountains, they got someplace new, that's huge in and of itself. So again, thank you for your support. I really think this could be a game changer for the students that it fits and for the families that it fits. I would hope CTE would kind of do the same sort of thing and do trades for the same sort of reason. Yeah.
No, I think that's a good idea.
But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job.
Good. Okay, well, thank you. And if you guys have to leave, that's fine.
They haven't had dinner yet. See you tomorrow.
Okay, Emily, you want to talk about the ELA?
And I just want to say very quickly before Emily starts, because she knows all of everything about the Amplify adoption. Elena and her team have been looking at this for several years. The current curriculum that they have is outdated, was adopted probably 10 years ago, and this was the last year that we would be able to get access to their electronic base, is where they get their curriculum. So take it away, Emily.
Okay. These are just some of the sample materials that they sent us, if you guys want to look through them. And then these are the 7th grade specific samples.
For the record, they did follow our curriculum adoption policy, which is required that they look at least 3 sample different curriculums. They look at the content for inclusivity to make sure that it's not biased curriculum. And then they also opened it up for parent review. I don't believe we had any parents show, but they did offer the whole portion of it. So I'll shut up.
So is there some of this that we could check out and read?
Yeah, we have one for each grade. You can take it if you want. I think the other 2 grades are in the annex office right now for the parent review. And then we did it at the family night a couple of months ago. I was set up at my table with all 3 of the options. This Amplify, it's not 5th through 8th, it's just the 6th through 8th. The 5th grade is still on the iReady curriculum that the elementary school uses. They have five core things that they focus on when it comes to their instructional materials. If you would like Hazel to click on that link and at least scroll through them.
I'm not able to access the links.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can get it from your email and just put it in there.
So I think I will improv that.
We didn't check it out, but she might be able to access it from her email. Hang on one second.
And this is the same, so that must be yours. It's on the He said the same. So
Yeah.
apparently this curriculum's gonna be 27.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I clicked on it.
She clicked on it.
I'm in.
I'm not able to click on it. Oh,
Nope, I
no.
just found them on paper, so.
Oh,
Are you-
So they're the engagement principles that they focus on. So number one, they're focusing on empowering students to become critical thinkers. So go a little deeper into those questions. There are always opportunities and supports for students to work up. So there's another slide on differentiation, but essentially there is the core group that you can place students into on the digital platform.
there we go. We
And
got
that
it
is
up
our,
there.
that's our like at grade level traditional group right there.
Thank you.
And then there's also 3 levels below and some levels above. So for those students who need the additional supports, they can have the same material, just a little adapted for them, maybe some sentence stems. And then those who need more of a challenge, that's good.
Okay.
Those who have need more of a challenge have that like extended response or just those additional responsibilities in there for answering while still covering the same standards. You can scroll down to the next one. Classroom community. There's a lot of opportunities for working with partners, working in groups, collaborating digitally, and just having like the Socratic seminar type deal, the conversations between students and being civil with those conversations. There's professional development opportunities. There's a professional development library as part of the online platform that teachers have access to with all sorts of different things that we can see at any time. And then additionally, like the actual in-person professional development that they do to set us up for success. And it just shows through the data of schools that have implemented this program that the kids do well. It's very integrated. So they don't necessarily recognize that they are reading and writing and doing vocabulary work because it's so meshed together that it just feels like they're doing something a little more fun. The next link on there, you can actually skip because the third one has both information compared. So this is my 3rd year teaching here. And in my 3 years, collections has been our textbook, and I have opened it probably 5 times because it's just not great. So this is the comparison on Ed Reports between the collections version that we have and the Amplified that we're looking at adopting. And it just has the side by side there for the different standards. And you can just let the numbers speak for themselves. Another thing about Amplify is it is a 100-day pathway. So obviously there's 180 days of school, but 100 days of lessons. So there's that flexibility. They have flex days built in, which are just little breakdowns of whatever topics you're noticing your students need additional time on. You can dive into those. Or for like Megan Clevey, who teaches in the 6th grade, she does a Harry Potter unit that the kids are obsessed with. And with the way that this is set up, she can still do that unit and complete all of the curriculum. If you're done looking at that, we can go to the next slide. This part I kind of already talked about. I'm not going to read at you, but I believe this is linked in the agenda as well. This is just directly from them. This is their approach to differentiation along with the cited research for why they do it the way they do it. It's a science of reading approach. and it has proven to be very successful. So I handed out, I handed out the actual pricing. I didn't realize, or I didn't know until this morning that Ms. Velasquez wants to do the 3-year blended program. So that third one in with the grand total of 27,722.
And so my understanding is there's a one-time professional development that comes with the supplies for 4,700. So that's a one-time cost unless we need it additional years, or am I wrong with that?
You are mostly right.
Okay,
So it's
that's the way she explained it to me. Okay.
It's a 1 full day in-person professional development with like their curriculum coordinators to come and baby step us through it. And then there are 2 half-day virtual ones. And before we got the pilot materials, we had a 3-hour training session at that point as well. But yes, the grand total is 4,700 for the professional development. And teacher licenses were free this go around because for every 75 student licenses, you get a free teacher one. And that worked out perfectly for us. The 3 core teachers would have a full license, and then the special education and ELL teachers get a co-teacher license, which is all of the same access for none of the cost.
So we got 3 different teachers.
Yeah, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade level.
And then probably 2 special education and 1 ELL. And I also have 2 of the pilot items. This is what I'm going through with my students right now. It's their little version of The Outsiders and the different pieces that go along with it. And I'm really enjoying it because part of their approach with the science of reading is to do excerpts instead of sitting down and reading the book from cover to cover. And with 7th graders, that is very successful because you can keep their attention a little bit longer. That's all I can report. What are your questions? So how long have you been testing this? We started, full implementation has been a couple months, but the process of like introducing the 3 different ones has been
2 years now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
So you know you like it.
Yes. And with the other ones, I've implemented lessons and units from their curriculum as well and gotten student feedback. It is a resounding amplify.
So you showed this to some of the students then?
Yes.
They piloted with all 3 curriculums, right? And then had a chance to get student feedback. Yeah.
So one of the ones that we did was Into Literature, which is just the updated version of collections. And it was just the updated version of collections.
But was it a pretty consensus, clear choice of what you went through with the other team?
Yes.
The group? Good. No, I think that's great. Yeah. Mike, you have any questions?
And we have they have full digital access right now too. So like last week they were testing and I didn't want to go super heavy on the content. There's a vocabulary game app within Amplify. And so I got to spend 15 minutes playing the vocabulary games. Yeah.
So one thing I think when we ask is, you just did one last year?
We did K through 5.
K through 5, right. And one of the things we always ask to come back and talk to us about and how it's going and how the kids adapt to it and so forth from the teachers. I think it'd be good to get some feedback down the road on it. And I think we asked that about the K through 5 ones too. that we ask them to come back later and tell us how it's going. So it'd be a good update.
The only thing that I hear in the elementary school, which we're working on for next year, is that they need more grade level time in their early release. Now that they've had the training and they've implemented at least for 1 year, now they feel like they need to go deeper and they need to calibrate what they're doing in each of the classrooms to make sure they're doing it with fidelity. And so we're bringing the trainers back in, and then instead of working vertically with teams, they feel like they need more time with their immediate team in the elementary school to make sure that they are implementing with fidelity so they get the best results, which I appreciate their feedback on that. And we're in the process. In fact, we're going to work on it Thursday to adapt our early release schedule so that there's more grade level team time. At the middle school, it might mean that because they're implementing where Elena could adapt it, where then the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade ELA teams spend more time together so they can make sure that they're implementing with fidelity. Because you can buy a piece of curriculum, but if you don't know how to use it and don't use it the right way, it might not have the same results.
No, exactly. No, it's good. Yeah, good presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. So we can bring that back to the next board meeting then for a motion.
Yeah, I didn't see a motion
Yeah.
on there, so let's do that.
We'll bring it back for and that way if you want to spend some more time looking over any materials, Mike, you may. He can take those, right?
Yes, I have digital access to everything.
Okay.
You guys can keep what you need, except for my outsiders packet, because I put it in that.
Good. Let's see, Myron, Inside School of Washington. How are we doing?
Doing great. I'm doing great. So Diana, I spoke earlier this morning, and she wanted kind of me to share with you. So I think she shared with you all that there was a hearing, because I think Shannon, you asked about transitional kindergarten online a few board meetings ago. And OSPI had a hearing last Tuesday regarding proposed rules for transitional kindergarten. Right now they're under emergency rules. They're trying to finalize those rules. And looking at the rules, one of the things that we discovered was they actually wrote into the rules that alternate learning experiences like Insight Washington or your local ALE programs cannot utilize or are excluded for being able to even offer or propose a traditional kindergarten program. And so last Tuesday, we submitted a document. I think Diana can get a copy of that to you, kind of walking through what traditional kindergarten might look like online and what it is and what it is not. And then we just kind of testified during the hearing that, excluding ALE schools from being able to even think about offering this is really kind of inequitable, right? Because it's not necessarily allowing this particular modality to be used to support students throughout the state of Washington. So, and there was a few others that testified at the hearing as well, from different districts. I know there was someone from Everett Public Schools that testified. She wanted to kind of make sure they had the ability and the flexibility to make sure their transitional kindergarten program was in alignment with their ECAP programs and other programs that they had within their district. Someone from Head Start testified, and she indicated that basically that she thinks TK is an important part of the whole system, but the intent was to resolve issues with TK and early child education, but reality of what the regs really did is just restate what the WACs were doing, just restating what the law said. It didn't really provide clear expectations, so she wanted them to kind of clarify that. And then there was an interesting concern that came forward too from the Washington Association of School Psychologists. They brought forward that they just want to make sure that traditional kindergarten doesn't become like online kindergarten, right? It should be more than just kindergarten. It's not supposed to be a kindergarten instead of get kind of classroom. It's supposed to be much more involved. So they were concerned with that a little bit. And overall, there were some really good thoughts, and people were generally excited about the program. We would love for them to, obviously, with Williott Valley, I think it'd be awesome for us to explore this as an opportunity. Well, hopefully they will take our thoughts into consideration as they finalize their rules.
Myron, do they give a timeline of when they finalize those rules? Do you know?
I was just thinking about that. They didn't share anything about the timeline in the meeting. It was really short. And I don't remember, I didn't check the OSPI website to see, but I can and just email you back what their timeline is around finalizing the rules. So.
Well, it certainly has implications for our local ALE program in Forks and our online program. So I'm curious to see what they decide.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Thank you, Myron. Okay, moving on. We'll get Diana back up here on our financial report.
Go ahead. Okay, so for the month of April, our financials for budget status, we had revenues of $6 million some dollars, which is 9% of our apportionment, for an additional almost $1 million for the month of April compared to our expenditures. And so if you look at our net cash and investments in the general fund for April, we were at 19% of our overall budget of $42 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see the trend. We're right about where we were last year at this time in April. Did I put it? Yeah, in April right there. You can see we're actually right where we were. Go ahead. And in our unreserved, undesignated, we're at 13.74% of almost $7 million for the month of April. And okay, so we'll stop there. One of the things I wanted to share, just in looking at the general fund, if you go to budget status in the background report, but one of the local support non-tax 2000, it shows that we have for the revenues, and again, this is in the general fund, we're at 414,000. We're at 109%. That is actually what our interest rate is incurring with our money that's in the general fund, or in the county treasurers.
Right.
That's just a savings, or is that a CD account? Or what is this,
We have some invested in a short-term CD, but most of it is just in getting a small amount, but we're starting to build on that. And again, that's local dollars that we can utilize for some of our projects. I'm trying to think. I think we got a little bit more of our timber sales this last month in our debt service fund. But Jan, in looking at it, we're still, we're not quite where we were last year. We're seeing it slow down just a little bit. But I think it's based on the sales.
Yeah, when they operate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not when they buy it, it's when they operate. So.
And I'm going to testify at the next Board of Natural Resource meeting. It's actually a meeting in OMAC, but I'm going to do it virtually because they're requesting the Board of Natural Resources is not seeing the local junior taxing district show up, and they're getting a lot of opposing for sales due to environmentalists. And so we're going to start flooding them. I shouldn't say we're going to start flooding them. We're going to appear. I know SQUIM superintendent is working on it. Kyle and I sit on the Revenue Advisory Committee at Clallam County, and part of the goal is to make sure that the timber sales still make it through the Board of Natural Resources. So,
did they vote on that last? What was that, DNR or the county, or somebody was going to try and take some land out?
Yeah, the trust land. So the county commissioners are sending a letter to the Board of Natural Resources to not do that. It won't go through without their approval. And that was part of our work as the Revenue Advisory Committee, is to say no to that.
They haven't voted on it yet.
No. And so, Jan, we also, if you look at our general fund, we have exceeded our expenditures. Or we're at 100%, 0.77, because of our additional enrollment in Insight. And so Jan is getting our budget extension ready for the general fund. In June, we have only one meeting on June 24th. Hazel and I will remind you, but that night we'll have a hearing prior to the start of the meeting for the budget extension, because we have to have that done before July so that we don't get in trouble for spending more than we said we're going to spend.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really not a good place to be. Okay, that's my update. And so May enrollment, we're nearing the end of our year, have actually held pretty steady. And so for brick and mortar, we're on the average, we're down 14. Elementary remains pretty steady, on the average up 18.78. And again, that's for transitional kindergarten program. Middle school, we've seen some transfer out of the middle school going to alternative learning settings, both Insight and our Homeschool Plus program. At the high school, again, down the most due to running start, and I think we'll have a better idea of where our kids are for next year and budget accordingly. But if you look at it, the actual, we're at 222. We're getting closer to 200 than for comfort. And then I'm not sure why that is showing 37. Cindy, I think we might have had some accounting issues, but I do know the head count right now, enrollment is 51. But the reason that average is low is because we didn't start seeing the bump in enrollment until probably January-ish, February, yeah. And then Insight for the K-5 band plus 176 full-time equivalent, and I think that's on the average. Go ahead. And 377.65 in the middle school grade band. And then really, Myron did a great job. He's really about dead on with the high school, but we're seeing closer to that 1,800 count. And so if you do the overall math, we're averaging about 384 more. And if you do that in dollar figures where we'll spend, that'll be 2 million more, about 2.1 million more than we had originally figured.
Okay. So if you go back to the senior class, how many kids are graduating this year?
Wish I had Brenda here. And I just had that number. No, all of them together. I think 68, but I could be wrong. I know at the high school, Forks High School, there are 3 that are still in limbo, and again, or at risk of not graduating. And Brenda's cutoff date is the 31st, so it's this Friday. And we have 2 from just 1.
Oh, from the alternative school.
No, we have
1 and 4, I think. From
4 from Homeschool Plus, and then 1 from the alternative school.
Could be a long night then.
Well, we have 5 valedictorians, and I don't have the picture. I'll bring it to the next one. It's going to be in the paper, but 5 ties, really good kids, and they each get 3 minutes to talk.
But Nate says he only needs 1.
There you go. Okay, let's see, board member report. Anybody have any, Mike? Start with you.
Nothing for me.
Yeah?
We finished spring sports this last week, so those fast pitch wins. They won lost their first game, won their second, and lost their third. And in track, we had 2 bring home medals.
Yep.
So it was a good weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of driving.
All on the east side, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both in Yakima.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good.
Nice weather.
Yeah. I don't have anything. Diana, do you have anything? Or Myron, do you have anything you want to talk on?
No, I don't think so, but thank you.
Great. Okay. Moving on to new business. We need approval of resolution 1323-24 WIA school board resolution. So what is
This permits us, it's our annual resolution that permits us to participate in WIAA for the upcoming school year.
okay? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 13-2324, school board resolution for WIA.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion on it? It's a yearly thing, I believe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None hearing, motion passes. We're at the end. We have an executive session. Is there anything going to come out of it?
No, there will not be any motion, but it will probably take 25 full minutes. I would say
25
till 8 o'clock.
Okay. So we'll come back after 25 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Everything.
I'll take the teacher and the student book. It's kind of good to read through some of that stuff, just to see what the kids are getting into.
And it's funny to look at it. It is so integrated that it tricks them into.
They're learning and they're having fun and they don't even know it.
And this one, so the
Okay. We're back.
Am I back?
Yep.
Okay. Nothing coming out of executive session, so we're adjourned for our meeting of May 28th.